I would tell her and tell other people, man, always look for the beauty in everything and first within yourself, and just always be yourself, always live with pure intentions and never be scared to just be you, to say what you feel, to laugh, to love. Don't let, like what my daughter does, don't let life stop wowing you, bro. In every single thing you do, find the life in everything. When you're driving, let the wind, feel the wind. Just enjoy every little thing in life, but never, ever, ever lose belief in yourself, man. A lot of times we lose the belief in ourselves. So just believe in yourself, spread love, protect your loved ones, be kind, be capable of being a monster to handle your shit and protect yourself, but always just, figure out how you can help others, love others, care for others, and never be scared to be yourself, man. Always just be your authentic you. It's the best thing you can do.
You are listening to the Dogmatic podcast. This show is 100% independent and fully funded by listeners like yourself. So, if you wish to support Ahmed in all that he is doing, then please subscribe to his channel on Spotify or his Substack. Or simply buy him a coffee with a one-off donation, links to which can be found at dotmalik.com. Now, let's get on with the show.
I have my computer right here, so I'm looking at you. But so how do you do that? So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So this is what I do. First of all, I'm going to pause and I'm going to back up my camera so my head is the same size as yours. Because right now my head looks fucking humongous.
It does.
I have a big head. I know. but just so people know that my head is not actually massive, I have an egg here. So here's an egg. This is actually quite a small egg because
that looks like a small egg, man.
It is. I have bantam chickens, so they're tiny. So I have small chickens and they lay small eggs. But I'm putting this egg up here because one of the reasons why I have a beard is because my kids tell me that I look like a big brown egg or a chocolate ball. So I need to keep the beard. Anyway, I'm going to zoom away so my head's the same size. Really good question when you say about where do you look. I've got used to just looking at the camera. And if someone wants to show me something, I look down at the screen, which is here. But that's a bit weird because it looks like I'm not looking at you. So I've trained myself to look at the camera. Hey, everybody. And you're just going to have to do that. But listen, we've had so many chats on the phone and we haven't seen each other and it's still great. So you know what? It's all good.
Let's do it.
I'm going to pause and then zoom out a little bit. Hold on. Mosquito shooter. Oh, dude, it's happening. It's actually bloody happening.
I didn't think this was ever going to happen, man. I mean,
No,
I knew, but it doesn't feel real.
It feels surreal. But anyway.
Feels like a dream.
Dude, it's so good. It's so good. I just love, it's lovely to speak to you. You look like a better looking twin version of me. I mean, it's from the other side of the big pond. It's amazing, man. It's so funny. Like, people always ask me, how do you find your guests? And I go like the most random shit ever. Like, I go through my Instagram, I go through my X account, someone leaves an interesting comment. I go, who's this person? I look them up. I go, ooh, look at that. Ooh, this is interesting. And I look into them a bit more. And you were one of those people. I was like, who's this guy? Unique tattoos. Like, what's this? What's this guy? Who is this guy? And then, you know what really reeled me in? You did one of those, one of your many posts on Instagram where you're like, everyone, you need to sort out your shit, Spanish, and then get your shit together, like, in Spanish. And it was like, you're going in and out of English and Spanish. Like, I can barely speak one language properly. And you were just so fluent and fluid between the two. It just blew my mind. And then I actually started listening to what you were saying. And I was like, man, this guy is a tattooist, but he's talking about relationships and trauma and vaccines and freaking everything.
Gotta be careful with them vaccines, man. I had to stop on that one.
Dude, yeah, it's pretty amazing. But listen, one thing, I'm not going to put you in pressure right now. We got an hour and a half, right? Easily. But
What
at
do you
some
got?
point tonight in this podcast, can you please do one of your epic rants so
Of course. Of
the audience
course.
knows what I'm talking about when you
Oh,
go,
come on.
oh, please, brother, please, just if
Yeah,
you can just do it so people understand what I'm talking about, and then they can find you.
of
Tell
course.
people where they can find your Instagram account.
It's Jerry, Jerry _ unique, UNIQUE _ tattoos. Jerry Hammond. And then I have a YouTube channel. It's just Jerry Hammond. Actually, it's Jerry Hammond Unique. And Facebook, Jerry Hammond. And TikTok, Jerry Unique Tattoos, something like that.
We'll put it all in the show notes so people can find
Appreciate
you. But
it,
anyway,
brother.
can you give an example of what I'm talking about?
Oh, you want it right now?
Yeah, do it, man.
Oh, let's do it. Okay, so you motherfuckers, you only got one motherfucking life. Solo tienes una pinche vida y te vas a morir. You're gonna fucking die. If you're a parent, si eres un padre and you're a lazy motherfucker y eres un pinche cabrón flojo, you need to take care of your shit. Vale más que hagas tus pinches cosas. I could go on, but
Just keep going on. To look at me, I'm like, please, just go. Dude, what made you like? Yeah, what made you just come out of that tattoo booth and go, right, I'm going to just speak my mind?
you know, a good friend of mine, Ryan, he was a friend of mine that I grew up with. He was in prison and he went down to visit me in Mexico, and then he went to prison when he left. And we would talk on the phone all the time, and then he would say, hey, man, I always feel better after I talk to you. And I didn't want to do social media. A friend of mine convinced me years ago. People would tell me all the time, and I was kind of living a little different, so I didn't want my face out there. I didn't want any pictures of me. I was real private. And a friend of mine convinced me to do social media, so I said, okay, I'm not gonna put my name. I'm only gonna put tattoos. And so I did that. And then once I started talking to my friend Ryan, and he told me, he said, man, people need to hear what you have to say because you make me feel better. I feel depressed. And then every time we talk, man, I feel good. And you're just telling me how it is and some real shit. And I was like, I started thinking about it. And then I just made a video. And then some people that speak Spanish were like, because I have a lot of friends from Mexico, and they were like, what the fuck are you saying? So I said, man, I can't make 2 videos. Let me just do, I ain't got time for that. So let me just try to make one. And then little by little, brother, I started getting messages, bro. Because I was really just like, this will probably help some people. But then I got people that were like, hey, man, I was going to kill myself. Or I was in the hospital, this and that. Or I was going to give up. Or I was doing drugs. I was doing alcohol. And something you said just changed my whole perspective. It gives me the chills, bro. And I was like, I understood the power of our voice, the power of our story. And a lot of times, like, I never thought there was power in my story because I didn't really, I was always kind of doing things that weren't the best. And then I realized, like, from what I come from and what I'm doing now, man, that's transformation. And a lot of people don't see that in themselves. And I understand the power of the word. The power of my word, the power of everybody's word, of everybody's story can spark that just to, on the right day when someone's ready to receive it. And just ever since then, man, I was doing a lot of posts, but the reason that I post now every single day is because a great friend of mine, man, he was a judge in Mexico. We used to party a lot. We used to be out doing, imagine if you're a judge in Mexico, you do whatever you want, right? And we were doing whatever we wanted. And one day I said, man, I'm done, bro. I feel like I'm rotting inside. I don't want to do this anymore. Don't want to be out partying. I want to learn. I want to grow. I want to read. I want to work out. And hey, I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And he was like, man, that's why everybody, thinks you're crazy now. Because I said, no, dude, I just feel alive when I'm growing, bro. So anyways, a couple years later, he said, yeah, I'm going to do, I'll get to it. Ends up, I made a video about suicide, bro. It was a couple years ago. Made a couple videos, and I watched my video and I didn't like it. I said, I don't like it. I'm not going to post that. I just feel stupid. Didn't listen. I feel like God sends us messages, bro, our conscious, our gut. And I didn't listen, bro, and he was always the first person to watch my stories, to like my posts, everything. He put a bullet in his head, bro. And it was, and I know that message was for, like, give me the chills, bro. Look at that. And I know that message was for him. And I realized maybe for me not listen, I mean, I can't put that on myself, right? But I just thought, man, maybe for me not listen, maybe that could have changed the whole trajectory of his life if I would have just not overthought it and posted that. So now I always think, man, this might help somebody. So I'm going to just post whatever comes to mind, whatever it is, because I understand the power of all of our stories, brother.
Oh, man. Love that. And I'll tell you what the secret of why you're so popular and why I like your channel is because you're authentic. And Jerry, we live in such a fake world. Man, there's like fake food, fake politicians, fake music, fake art. God. Everything's fake, dude. And like, even the vaccines are fake. It's like everything's fake. People are fake. Dude. The opposition is fake. Everything's fake.
100%, bro.
So when you see someone who's just real and authentic and just unfiltered and saying it as it is, it's just so goddamn refreshing. And dude, I don't care what your background and what your mistakes, your stories are important. Your voice is important, and so is everyone. So I just came back from a retreat, the first retreat that I organized, and there's 16 people there, and I was greeting them as they came, and quite a lot of them were like, "Oh my God, it's Doc Malik! I can't believe it. Can I touch you?" Like, oh my God,
can I rub your head?
I kid you not. It was like I had a few people say to me, "Oh my God, your skin's amazing. Can I touch it?" I was like, "You look just the same as on the podcast." I'm like, "Yeah."
Good camera, good quality camera, good looking guy.
But the thing is, I was like, guys, I'm just like you. And honestly, every single one of those 16 people was beautiful. They are such beautiful souls, and they have such beautiful stories. I mean, shout out to this guy, James from Edinburgh, if you're listening. I mean, when I first heard him speak, I was like, all right, who's this guy? He's got a thick Scottish accent. He's talking like this. And you have images and ideas of who they are. I met him, and he's so deeply philosophical and profound. And, you listen to him and you want to keep listening to him. And everyone there, everyone had a story. Everyone was special. And I think the system has done a great job of making people think, you're stupid, you're dumb, you're not important, you need makeup to look beautiful, you need to listen to this influencer and celebrity because they're better than you, and you're just know your place and just be an NPC consumer. 100%. When actually every one of us is a magical being, and you're just displaying that. You went from someone who didn't want to talk or say anything to like now you're just saying what your body, your innate self is saying. Just get it out there.
100%, bro. When are you doing another retreat?
End of June. Cool, last weekend of June. And I'm looking forward to it. It was mind-blowing.
I bet.
Maybe.
What'd you guys do?
It's like, that's a good question. So basically, I can't tell you 100%, but basically, we had a communal meal. We had meditation, we had breath work, we had cold plunge, we had sauna, we had hikes, we had some kind of plant medicine and a ceremony. And then afterwards, reflection, integration work. We did some foraging. I mean, we packed in a lot, and it was just very
foraging.
Like where you go out and you gather things. So we went out and we got some wild garlic, so you find plants and stuff.
Like hunting for stuff.
Yeah. It was
that's an English word or what? That's an English word, foraging?
I think foraging is everywhere. I think, yeah. people forage. Maybe not where you are. Maybe you're foraging for rattlesnakes where you are. But basically, it was just healing, It's just really, and it was good to meet the tribe. Like one of them, Sandy, said, Ahmed, oh my God, this is like our people on steroids. It's just really nice when you meet real people. And at one point, I was sitting down in the girls' bedroom, actually, because there was like 4 to a bedroom. And I was just sitting there, I was thinking like, I've only known you guys 24 hours and you're like my sisters. Like, I feel like I know you better than some people I've known for 20 years. I'm having more deep, meaningful conversations with you than most people I just interact with, like, oh, hi, hello, how you doing? And even when they say how you doing, they don't even really care how you're doing.
It's always usually pretty superficial, man. You know, people really don't. You know, I was at the store the other day, and this lady, I said, "Hey, how you doing?" She was an older lady, cashier. She said, "It's not a good day." I said, "What's up?" And she said, you're the first person to be nice today, and they were just gonna close. Like, what, everybody been a fucking asshole or what? And she said, "Yeah." And we started talking for a while and was asking her a lot of questions, just like a normal human, bro. She ended up almost giving me everything for free. Like, but just because she hasn't felt someone just genuinely care about her. And it's like, that blows my mind that's not, it's very rare. It's very rare that you see people really just genuinely care about other people, man. It's sad.
It is sad.
And I tell people that too. I'm like, dude, your life would get so much better if you really just cared about other people. Like, people that go out with me, bro, they see I'm always nice to everybody. Unless you're a fucking asshole first, you know, then that's different. But I'm nice to everybody. And it's been so crazy, bro, because I've gotten free stuff. I've been able to, like, the stuff you wouldn't even imagine just from being nice to people. And people don't understand, bro. I don't do it so much for them. I do it for my soul. I mean, obviously I want them to be happy, but it fulfills your soul. So if you're having a bad day, and you just go be nice to people, you go serve other humans, bro, it changed your whole vibe. It'll bring your frequency up here. People don't get that.
It's beautiful. 100%. And the more you give, the more the universe gives back to you in this magical, and it's not because you're doing it for that reason. It's just this weird relationship, you know. And going back to those 16 beautiful people, one of the things that really touched me, dude, the atmosphere was magical. We all loved each other. We all cared about each other. We're all sharing each other's trauma. Like, I've got trauma, dude. Like, I've got a lot of trauma. Layers and layers. We all have layers and layers of trauma. And normally we hide it. We put layers of grime and mud and cover it up. You know, and what we really are these diamonds. But because we have all these layers of grime coating the diamond, we forget that we're a diamond. And then we put makeup on the mud and pretend that we look good, when actually what we need to do is peel back all those layers of grime and dirt and trauma and our coping mechanisms and actually reveal the two diamonds that we are. And I was just struck by how we were just loving each other and caring about each other, you know, in this beautiful brotherly and sisterly way. And I was just thinking, what a wonderful place the world would be if everybody was like that. I went to the supermarket with my daughter to get some stuff. We wanted to make wild garlic mashed potatoes, and we didn't have enough potatoes, so we went and got some potatoes. And there's a children parent drive parking section. I don't know if you have that in your supermarkets.
A children parent
parking. So like if you've got kids, you get to park close to the supermarket in the car park.
Oh, that's like, cool.
You're not far away. So there's a disabled section. There's a section for parents with kids, and then
never
everyone
seen
else.
That before.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but the thing is, when I parked up my car, I saw this lady park up next to me and she had no kids. And this happens a lot.
Okay.
And it happens a lot. And I was like, I'll look at her, to my daughter. My daughter's like, please don't say anything, Daddy. Please don't say anything. I'm like, I am saying something. So I got out the car and this lady's getting out. And I was like, I see you don't have children. And she went, yeah. I went, this is a parent and child parking area. Are you entitled? She went, no, I'm not. I went, are you lazy? And then she looked at me and walked away. And my daughter was like, why you said that? I said, because she needs to know that she's lazy and entitled. This isn't for her to park in. And
that's common too, bro.
Right? Dude, like what the hell? And it's like people who park in disabled parking areas, people who park in a place for children and parents and they don't have children, people who their dog does a poo and then they put it in a plastic bag, and then leave it in the woods or hang it on a tree.
Don't get me started.
These are lazy and entitled people.
Bro, I was at the beach the other day, and I actually, so you can see really quick, man. I made a fucking video about
and there was just a beer can. Does anybody know why there's so many pigs?
Dude, every time I go to the beach, it's like there's beer cans, there's food, and I couldn't imagine.
Did you not do
somewhere.
did you not do one with condoms?
I found a condom on the beach, bro.
I watched that one.
Yeah, that was like 6 months ago, a year ago.
Yeah.
On the beach, bro, where we take our children, and it's like, if you're doing your thing, whatever, whatever everybody does is their business. But don't be a fucking pig, man. Have some class, just, I couldn't imagine going somewhere and not leaving with what I brought unless I brought it to give to somebody,
How can you even do it on the beach? This whole sand gets everywhere. Oh, no. But I mean, seriously, it's like exactly what you're just saying. Like, I remember that video with the beach one that you did. And I was like, oh God, what the hell's wrong with people? And it's like lazy and entitled. But like my daughter and I said, I still believe 90% of people are really good-hearted. And the moment you start talking to them, they're just like you and me.
100%. 100%, bro.
One of the other realizations I got from this weekend was, I was sitting down like with these like 4 older women like my age. You're just a kid when you get to my age. We're older, and but listening to them talk, listening to them cry, listening to them talking about how their parents treated them and everything. Yeah, some young kid would have come into that room and went, "Oh, look at all these old people." But actually, after a while, all I saw sitting around me were children. We're all children, dude.
We're all just a bunch of big kids, man. Yeah. A lot of people let life beat that kid out of them, though. A lot of people that's what I worry with my daughter. I always try to make everything fun. She doesn't speak yet she just understands a little bit, but that's one thing that's always on the top of my mind is I want to do the best job I can to not let life beat the kid out of her, bro, because so many people, now we're adults and we're trying to figure out how to heal that kid and how to be a kid again and enjoy the little things. And that worries me every day. I'm like, how can I figure this out so I can raise her well, so she's responsible, she's independent, but she's still always going to have that, just loving, caring child that can just, like when we walk outside, bro, the biggest thing I learned from my daughter every single day is as soon as we get outside, she points at the sky and she's like, wow. And everywhere we go, like she'll see a balloon or something, and I'm like, man, and sometimes I'll be like taking shit too seriously, and I'm like, thank you. She reminds me, you can't let the kid ever get beat out of you, man.
Beautiful. I had this guest called Shankar Chetty who said the exact same thing. He's a South African doctor being punished because he was treating people naturally for COVID. And when I had him on the podcast, he said to me, I identify as a child. And I'll be honest with you, the first thing in my head I thought was, what the fuck is your problem? Like, oh my God, what is wrong with you? But like literally within minutes, he had converted me and I was like, oh shit, I'm a child too. Because he was like, a child is curious. A child is courageous. A child is brave. A child is fun. A child makes mistakes and goes, okay, cool, that didn't work. I'll try something else. A child isn't worried about what other people are going to think and hesitate. And he goes, when you become an adult, you become an adulterated child.
100%.
And he said, don't become an adult. Just stay that child. And I was like, okay, I identify as a child.
Dude, we all should. How many people want to make a video for social media or they want to speak in front of people, but they're just worried about what people are going to think? And that's what man, I'm telling you, I learned more from my daughter and from kids than most adults. Like, we'll be out and I see my daughter, she don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. And I'm like, man, I need to be more like that. I'm pretty well at that, but a lot of us could learn a lot from that. And then just so many people that the first thing they think is, well, if I say this, or if I just be myself, or if I post this, what is someone going to say about me? It's like, shut the fuck up, smack yourself,
Yeah. I'm learning from my daughter too, man. We're going to come back to you and your daughter in a second. My middle daughter, oh man, she's got this combination of being lazy and incredibly smart. It's a very powerful combination. And, she doesn't make her bed. She leaves things on the floor and it's just dirty everywhere. And, when I say she's 8, and when I say, clear up your table and take the plates to the sink, she won't do it. And sometimes I'll be like, come on, what are you doing? And Then recently she said to me, Dad, at school all day they tell me what to do. On Sunday, the swimming teacher tells me what to do. On Monday, the jiu-jitsu coach tells me what to do. On Thursday, the gymnastics coach tells me what to do. And on Friday, the kickboxing coach tells me what to do. I just want to be left alone and do what I want to do. And when you come home and then you tell me what to do, I've had enough.
What'd you do? What do you do in that situation?
And then she goes, how would you feel if people were constantly telling you what to do? It's like, wow, baby, you got a point. You got a point. I did not appreciate that it's frustrating and people are bossing you around constantly. I'm sorry. I'm not going to boss you around. It would be helpful if you help me. If you don't want to do it, I get it. But if you do it, it would be super fun. But I love you, and it's up to you to do what you want to do and what you don't want to do. And so half the time she helps me, half the time she doesn't. But it's cool.
Oh, wow. How old are your other kids?
So the eldest is 9, soon to be 10, and the youngest is 6. Okay. And it's hard juggling 3, I'll be honest with you. Like, I just went today to the market to get some fresh focaccia. And I went with my eldest daughter. I was like, anybody want to come with me? She went, yeah, daddy. And when you have that one-to-one time, it's so magical. Because when I've got 3 of them, it's like, Daddy, he poked me. And Daddy, she looked at me the wrong way. And, just constant bickering and fight. But when you've got that one-to-one time with your child, it's magical. You start talking about everything. I started talking to my daughter about online grooming. Like, it was really random. But, I could have
that's a conversation you should have.
Yeah, exactly. And, she's 9 coming up to 10. And I don't know how it just slipped into that, and we just started talking. But it was good. It was good. But it wasn't a conversation I could have when there's all 3 of them there. And I also have to be careful, like, how I love my kids. Just before I went off on my retreat, it was so weird, this retreat. There's so many things that were firing off. Just before I went off, my middle daughter, it's always my middle daughter, she goes, Daddy, you love your son more than me. And, he's the youngest one. And I went, no, I don't. And then I went off to the retreat. And in the retreat, one of the participants was saying, I really felt like my parents loved my sibling more than me. So much so, I wrote a letter to my relative complaining about it. And that's how much it pained me. And she was 8 years old when she did it. And she showed that this postcard. And she was reminded by her relative, look, they found the postcard. And they said, look, on the day they sent that message to her. And she then replayed it to all of us. And I'm like, wow, my 8-year-old daughter said the exact same thing to me yesterday.
Oh, shit.
And so when I went back home, I went rushing up to the bedroom and she was still awake. And I went, I love you, baby. I never want you to think I love any of your siblings more than you. You are just as important and loved as everyone else. And I love you to bits. And she just gave me the biggest hug ever. And I lay with her and she slept and she just had this beautiful smile. And
oh, wow.
And like, yeah, today she's just been adorable and a lot calmer. And it just goes to show you, like, man, children hold on to things and then they sometimes take it to their adult years.
If you didn't hear that from that person, you think that you would have, like, noticed that you would have been aware, or you would have just brushed it off?
I would just like, oh, no, but now I'm making more of an effort to make her realize that, no,
what a crazy, not a coincidence, but what are the odds of that happening? That's crazy.
Man, so many things like this. Anyway, let's go back to your daughter. Like, how did you start following my Instagram channel? Like, what made you go, right, what's happening here? On the other side of the world.
You were definitely saying some crazy shit about COVID. I don't remember the exact one, but I remember you were saying stuff that a lot of people were scared to say, and it completely resonated with me because I like to think of myself as a critical thinker and a free thinker. And so during COVID and during all that, I mean, you saw how it was. And I noticed a lot of people didn't see it how I saw it that were around me. Some people did, but many didn't. And like when I saw what you were saying, I was like, oh, Annie's a doctor. That's nice, you know, because people, if you're not a doctor, you know how that goes. Even though you come from that world, people called you crazy. So imagine me, I'm not a doctor, and people are like, oh no, you know, like they just discredit when you're like, wait a minute, people, like, how do you not see what is happening? You know, they want you to stay in your house and keep a mask on and stay out of the sun and be living in fear. You're going to get sick. And then they want you to just take this shot after shot after shot. And I had a lot of people where I was like, you know, hey, you know, see what is happening. And many people were like, oh no, bro, I'm on my way to get my, you know, third, fourth shot. And I just was like, wow. And I saw what you were saying. And I was like, you know, sounds like we're on a very similar path. We see things the same, and which is nice because the news, you know, they were trying to make a lot of people feel like if they thought how me and you thought, then we were crazy or we were selfish or we didn't care about other people. And it's not that we don't care about other people. We love other people. It really comes down to, okay, I care about other people, so I need to take as best care of myself so I can be better for other people. And just because everybody else is doing it and the news says to do it, doesn't mean that that's the way that's best for me to take care of myself and other people. And you just really resonated with me, bro. And I really appreciate you, man. And like, I admire the man that you are and the way that you are, because a lot of people did see things how you did too, and they just shut the fuck up because they were scared. You know, so I really admire, you know, the man you are, and I'm glad that we crossed paths, bro. You know, because I know you're just someone that's looking for truth. And then once we talked on the phone, that was really cool because you know you're like, hey man, nah, you know, we got into it, you know, and it was just really, really refreshing, man, seeing someone see things that I'm seeing, you know. So thank you.
No, thank you. And Jerry, you know what? Everything happens for a reason. I'm really glad we had so many problems getting this podcast going. Like, some people need to know we've like scheduled this like so many times.
It's been a shit show, dude. It has been a shit show.
But I mean, like the last time, right, when the camera wasn't working your end, we ended up still chatting for over an hour.
Yeah.
And how much fun did we have?
Oh, we were laughing our ass off, bro. See, so, and we couldn't post some of that stuff because we would get canceled for sure.
Yeah, it was proper X-rated. But I mean, basically, you know, I'm easygoing, and one of the things is I don't want you to just be a guest on my show. Like, I truly value you now as my friend on,
100%.
on the other side of the world. And one day, brother, we will meet. We will meet. But without putting words in your mouth, like you said, you know, you were seeing things, Hammond, during COVID, and you were seeing them too. What were you seeing?
You know, it was a lot, bro. Like, at first I understood, I saw what was going on, but you know, I saw before COVID happened, I saw a couple videos from Alex Jones, from David Icke, and what was that Indian guy's name? Do you know the Indian guy? He was a doctor. He actually passed away. He said that did you see that?
Yes.
Very intelligent human. Very intelligent. You know who I'm talking about, though. He had white hair.
Bakri or something like that. Or
it starts with a B. It was Buttar or something like that.
Yes. Anyway, I know who you're talking about.
And I saw videos about them saying what was going to happen before it happened. And then when it happened, I was like, oh shit, this is what they're talking about. But then they made it seem so real because you saw the news, everything was just bah, 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 bah. And, you know, a lot of people around me were freaking out. And then I said, hey, let's turn all this stuff off and let me just see what I think about it, you know. And then I started just analyzing, you know, my own thoughts. And I said, well, I already saw that this was planned. I mean, and it makes sense because it's exactly what's happening. And then all of a sudden, the government gives a fuck about my health. All of a sudden, they're just like very, very, very worried that I'm okay. But There's a liquor store on pretty much every corner in certain neighborhoods. All that stuff's, legal. Cigarettes have thousands of chemicals. They're putting chemo in people, radiation, all the stuff that happens at the hospitals that you know about. But all of a sudden they care about me. And it just made, none of it made sense to me. And then even with the mask, like I had a lot of issues with the mask because I would go to a lot of places and I had stores. I'd go to Walmart and they'd say, oh, here, sir, you need to have a mask on. I said, oh, I'm okay, thank you. Oh, no, I have one for you. I said, I see that, but I'm okay, thank you. No, you need to put one on. Hey, man, get the fuck away from me. I'm not kissing you. I'm not fucking you. Just don't worry about what I'm doing. Because I try to be nice, but you want to push me and get the fuck away. We're going to call the cops. Call the cops, man. So there was just a lot of things that happened. And then I would see other people in stores, bro, where I'd be at Walmart or somewhere and that would happen. And then someone else would take their mask off. And I'm like, that's cool. But why don't you just, if that's how you feel, you need to like just stand up by yourself, whether you're scared or not, because you see there's right and wrong. Man, I took my daughter to a special school in Mexico, and they were really, really in Mexico on about all that stuff. So we go into the office. We're seeing if, it was a good school, was a good fit for her. The principal comes in. She's got 2 masks on, a visor, and all kinds of other stuff. And that blew my mind, and then she said, oh, you guys need to have a mask on. I said, man, we don't do masks in my family. We like our oxygen, we like air. And my daughter, and you, first off, you already have plenty on for all of us. I think we're all safe here. And she said, yeah, if your daughter's not used to it, then what you can do is you can slip a mask over her little by little while she's playing. And I was like, are you sick? Are you sick? This is a child. First off, this is a child. Second off, she's already having issues in her brain. She's already got some problems going on. That's why she's at a special school. And you want me to cut off the oxygen supply or at least cut it way down because you think it's good? No, we're not doing that. And then so we had a problem and they kicked us out. And there was just a lot of situations like that, man. And I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone. And a lot of people, even clients, because I kept traveling, I kept tattooing, I kept doing my thing. And I had some clients where they would come with a mask. And the first thing I would tell everybody is, hey, first off, we might be here 8-10 hours. I don't know. But just so you know, I'm not going to wear a mask. So if you're uncomfortable with that, we can reschedule. I'll give you your deposit back. No problem. But I don't know. It's up to you. I like my oxygen. I feel fine. If I don't feel good, and it's not because of COVID, but I've always operated like that if I don't feel good, I'll tell you, hey, don't come in for your appointment because I don't feel good and I don't want to get you sick. But now just because the news is telling me a certain thing, and anything I ever have seen on the news, I usually think if I'm at an airport and I watch the news or I'm at the gym and I happen to see it, I usually think, okay, if they're telling me to do this, it's probably not good for me. I should probably do the opposite in many occasions, And so it was just a lot of things like that, man. And then some clients would be like, oh, thank God. And they'd take theirs off. Or some clients would like tighten it up extra. Like they would get scared. And I could just see the fear in these people, man. And it was sad. It was very, very sad because I was just like, wow, I understand that everybody was just kind of doing what they felt was best. And then they had their family telling them one thing. They had the news telling them another thing. All these people like, you need to do this, you need to do that. Otherwise, you don't care about other people. And it was just very fear-based, bro. It was very, very fear-based. And it was just really sad for me to see that. But yeah, man, just a lot of situations like that, that happened.
I'm glad you could see it. I wonder why you could see it and a lot of people couldn't. I think there's
I've always been kind of a person where I've always just questioned a lot of things. Even like my family. My family was pretty crazy. My mom did a lot of drugs, a lot of violence, a lot of craziness in my family all the time. And I always would just question things like, damn, why are things like this? But I always would just question a lot of things that I saw. But the older I got, the more I think I just would look around and I see what's happening in things in the government, at hospitals, places, and usually everybody's got their agenda, and a lot of times it's not good for a lot of other people. You know, it's just self-centered, especially when it comes from the government.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, man. Look, I know it's very close and it's personal, and if you don't want to talk about it, it's fine. But you said your daughter isn't speaking yet.
Mhm.
Is that because of you know what?
Yeah. So my daughter, when she was born, she was my first kid, so I wasn't sure, and I only have my daughter, but I wasn't sure what to look for. But I tried to read up a little bit, you know, like how to be a parent and all that stuff, and just as much information as possible. And she was fine. She was doing great. She was walking. Everything was good. And then they gave her a triple shot when she was like a year and a half. And as soon as she got that, she got a temperature right away. And they said, "Oh, that's completely normal." And so I didn't know, you know. And the next thing you know, everything just changed. And me and my baby mom, we're not together anymore, but we both saw it. And she was just different, bro. Like everything was different. Then I started going to doctors and therapists and psychologists and all these. Oh yeah, she's autistic. And I was like, yeah, but she wasn't like that. You know, like she's different. And it just they try to make us feel like we were crazy, bro. And I said, no, I saw what happened. I watched how it went. And ever since then, I've been going to different doctors, bro, all over the place. Functional doctors, naturopath doctors, psychologists, pediatricians, neuropediatricians. We've got brain scans. We've got everything on her. And the great majority of doctors, when I say, "Oh, this is what happened," oh no, somebody made up that story years ago, and that's been debunked. I watched it happen, you know. And so I've had a lot of issues with doctors. And then I found a functional doctor in Mexico. And right away he said, "Oh, yeah, I see about 8 to 10 cases like this a day, bro. Like, you have to do this, this, and this, and this, and these therapies and all this stuff. And there's hope." And that was the first person that said that. And I was like, wow, that's great. And then just ever since then, man, I would go visit my daughter every couple weeks as often as I could because my baby mom didn't work. So I would always send, whatever she needed, give her everything, a car, whatever, for rent, for the food. I would go every time I'd go visit. I would always look for therapists, for doctors. I was just looking for solutions because I want my daughter to have a good life. I want her to have a chance at having a good life. I wanted her to be able to write, to read, to drive a car, to go out, have a boyfriend, have a life, and that didn't seem like much of a possibility. So every time I'd go out there, I'd go visit, look for different places. And, I found out I can't really talk too much about it right now because I'm in the middle of a court custody thing right now. But just some things were happening that wasn't good. And now I've had my daughter with me about 270, maybe 6 days. And ever since I got her with me, when she first came, she just turned 6 December 21st. But when she first got here with me, she was in a diaper still. She wouldn't even go in the bathroom. She was like kind of scared of the bathroom and wasn't really saying any words, nothing. And as soon as I got her here, I said, okay, she's going to have a very strict diet. That's what was supposed to be happening before, but it didn't happen. A very strict diet. Every single day, I'm going to be reading as much as I can about this. I'm going to talk to different doctors. I'm going to go to different places. And then I started reading, bro. I'd be up till I still do, up till 2 or 3 in the morning. Bam, 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 reading books on autism, on child development. And I was reading, okay, from when a child's born to 3 years old, the right side of their brain is developing. And then from 3 to 6, it's the left side. And then from 6 to 10, it jumps back and forth. So I'm like, okay, so this is where she's at. Let me figure out which side needs a little bit more stimulation, but try to stimulate both sides. And so every day I take her and make sure she gets sunlight. I take her to the park. I do different activities with her. Like her when I would throw a ball at her when she first got here and hit her in the face every time. Now she's playing pickleball with me, bro. She plays She's playing basketball. She's doing a lot of things. She's riding a scooter. She just lifted up her leg the other day. She could never do that. But I started realizing, like, oh shit, there's hope for her. You know, there's hope, and it's very hard work. But you want your children to have the best chance at life possible. So I'm in a lot of Facebook groups for special needs, for all that stuff. And I just see so many parents, bro, that are lost, and a lot of similar cases. When I posted a few videos about what happened with my daughter, and a couple of them got taken down and a couple of them didn't. And I had thousands of people reach out to me and say, hey, same exact thing with my kid. And I can't say anything to my friends, to my family, to the doctors, because they say I'm crazy. I said, no, we have the same experience, and a lot of these people, they're lost, bro. And it's sad because every single day I see parents, and I see people that'll post in these groups. They'll say what happened, a very similar case to what happened with my daughter. Mm-hmm. And you'd be surprised, maybe not, how many people attack them. No, you have no idea what you're talking about. And it's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? That's there. Just because you didn't experience the same thing does not mean that's not true. Stupid fucking people, man. And
stupid fucking people.
Oh man, and it's sad. And so a lot of these parents, they feel alone. And then some of their kids, they're just, oh man, it's sad. Some of these parents, I see them all the time. They say, hey, I don't want to wake up anymore. I'm tired because I see every day it's the same thing. My kid's doing this, and it's so sad to see that, bro. It's very, very sad to see that. And I always try to reach out when I can to these parents. I'm like, hey, I don't, not a doctor. I don't know everything, but hey, what diet do you have your kid on? Because a lot of people are trying to sell miracle stuff to these people. And I think minerals and vitamins and all that stuff works. We've had that conversation before. But I'm like, if you don't have a good diet for your kid, if you're just giving them shit, it's not benefiting them. And they're like, well, my kid's just screaming. Like, when my daughter first got here, I would take her to the store, and she was used to eating not very healthy. So she would point at the cereal, at chips, at this and that. And I'd say no. And she would scream at the top of her lungs, throw herself on the ground. And it was uncomfortable, bro. It was uncomfortable. So I could see how a lot of parents, they'll be like, oh shit, let me just shut this kid up and let's get out of here, because people are looking at me. But I always had in mind, bro, like, because I've done so much reading on it, and it just makes common sense to me. If I have a clean diet, it's going to help her development, her brain. And so I always keep the long vision, man. Hey, I'm going to go through this with you, and I don't give a fuck what these people think, and now we got to a point, it wasn't overnight. I try to explain that to people, but now we'll go to the store and she'll point at cereal and she'll be like, not that one. And I'm like, nah. And then she laughs about it, but then she'll point out the healthy foods. And it's just, she's been doing great, bro. Like, I have a lot of hope and a lot of faith for her to have a good life. And it's just daily work, man. But yeah, that's what happened. I know I kind of drugged that out a little bit. Sorry about that. But we work every single day, man, to give her the best life possible.
Do not apologize. Bro, one of the reasons why I love you, and there's many, is because, you post about your daughter quite a lot, and the lovely pictures, her sitting in the, in the seat next to you, or you going to the park with her, or whatever. 100%. She's, you're a proper dad. I love that. You're a strong man. You are a man, but you're protective, you're caring, and you're loving. And you're everything that, a good man, a good father should be, and I love that about you. You're taking care of your daughter. And, what you say about you talked about so much there, man. I'm just trying to catch up. But like, about the food and the diet is huge. I mean, I've met this lovely lady, Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride. She's Russian, but she came over to the UK and she had a child who had autism. And then she went to all the doctors, all her friends and colleagues trying to say, how can I cure it? How can I cure it? And no one could get an answer. And then suddenly she came up with the diet, and it's reversed. And now he's speaking. He was nonverbal. He's speaking. He's functioning. He's got a job. He's successful. Oh, wow. And you would never know. And so she's written a book about this, and there's a whole field, gut and psychology syndrome. And she talks about the gaps.
Very cool.
Yeah, she talks about the GAP diet, natural treatment for autism. And my friend, if you haven't already, get this book. I mean, it's not very much. It's like $15. But, Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride, and it's the gut and psychology syndrome GAPS diet. So please look into
I'm writing
that.
down right now.
Yeah, because if you're talking about the diet, amen, brother. You are 100% right about that. And there's even, a website, gapsdiet.com, based on Natasha's work. They've got a website, and it says, what is the GAPS diet? It outlines it, and it is hard work. It's hard work, brother. But
people don't want to put in the work, man.
People don't want to put in the work.
Like we were at Disneyland a little while back, and there was a kid doing exactly what my daughter used to do. And I don't like to be nosy because I don't like when people get in my fucking business. But I'm at a point in life, you know what I mean? I'm at a point in life where I realize, well, if I don't at least try to open up a conversation, I might not, never be able to help this person. If I can help this person, why not? And because I've seen the results, I never talk about anything that I haven't experienced. Like a lot of people ask me for my advice all the time or for an opinion. And if something I haven't experienced, something I haven't lived, I say, I don't know, man, I might be able to give you an educated guess, but that's all it's going to be. It's probably not going to be any good, like just to be clear. And like I said, hey, so how's your kid doing? My daughter used to do just like that. She said, yeah, we've been struggling. It's just every day. I said, what's his diet look like? She said, it looks pretty good. The only thing is that my parents give him candy all the time, but I give him chicken nuggets like almost every day. And I was like, wait, what the fuck? She thought, and a lot of people think that is healthy, bro. They think that like, I used to think, oh, this person's just fucking stupid. But now I realize like, oh shit, they just really just have that information. They're ignorant to other information. It's not that they're stupid. It's not there's something wrong with them, but they've just been told that, or maybe it was packaged nicely.
Absolutely.
And maybe it says, one thing on it that sounds great. Maybe it says, all natural chicken. And then people be like, oh, it must be good. And then there's all these seed oils and all this other shit in it. And They don't realize that they're destroying their children's chance at a future, man.
Oh my God. Look, very quickly before I forget. Rashid Buttar, God bless his soul. Rashid Buttar, right? So God bless that guy. Secondly, there is a pandemic of autism that no one is talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thirdly, I see it all the time. Dude, in my family, I saw that happen. I saw a beautiful child, bright-eyed, interactive, have the shots, change overnight. Change overnight. The light went out and they were diagnosed with autism.
Hi, me again. You're listening to the Doc Malik podcast. This show is 100% independent and fully funded by listeners like yourself. So if you wish to support Ahmed in all that he is doing, then please subscribe to his channel on Spotify or on his Substack, or simply buy him a coffee with one of the donation links which can be found at docmalik.com. Now, let's get back to the show.
And you know what? A lot of these people, they tell them, they said, oh, they've always had that gene in them, or they've always had that, and it just activated, right? I heard that over and over, and then all these parents or all these doctors too, they it sounds very nice because they're so confident in how they're saying it. So so a lot of people are like, oh shit, it must be true, man.
Bullshit. And also, we're just better at diagnosing it. Bullshit.
Bro, I would love you to interview a friend of mine. I just interviewed him. I want to interview you too on my podcast. Dr. Patrick Flynn, bro. When I interviewed him, he said, you know how many vaccines that my daughters have? I said, nah, how many? He said, I have as many they have each one that has actually been proven to be safe and effective. I said, oh shit, how many? He said, not a fucking one. I was like, wow.
I was like, this is going to make an interesting guest. I'm going to have to debate him and prove the vaccines aren't safe until you said the last line. I'm like, great, amen to that.
He got me good. Yeah.
No, dude, and I do a lot of the school pickup and drop offs because my wife is working and I'm just a goddamn podcaster. But I love it. I love the fact that I get to drop off my kids at school and pick them up. But in the last couple of years, in doing so, oh my God, mate, my heart weeps. I look at the kids, and these are the kids at the normal school. A lot of them are not right. Dude, they're not right. But I'm not saying it's that they've got autism. I can just tell because the moment they get picked up at school, their mums are handing them candy and crisp packets, chips, potato chips, and sugary drinks. And they're
100%.
tiny little kids, and they're taking like adult-sized portions, and they're just fucking bouncing off the walls. And then
they wonder why. Oh, something's wrong with my kid. I need to go get him diagnosed for ADHD.
Yeah,
You did that. You just fucking did that.
And give them drugs and God knows exactly. And then there's kids who should be walking that are being pushed in push chairs, and they're zoned out or they're on their iPads, and they're screaming for their snack, like the mom's getting the snack and they're like throwing a tantrum, like give it to me now. Or if the iPad stops working or something, they just go freaking meltdown. And when you said like you don't like giving advice, oh dude, brother, absolutely, it's a fucking thankless task. I've given up trying to save the world. I do my bit and that's it. Like there was one time I saw this mom and her kids on the screen and and he was eating snacks and he was screaming, and I was like, the screens can do that. It can be quite dangerous for children. They can delay the brain development of the frontal cortex. And she was like, "Are you a doctor or something?" And I was like, "Actually, yeah." And then she was like, "What?" And then that took her back a little bit. And then it was like, "What kind of doctor?" And and I knew if I said orthopedic surgeon, she would have said, "Well, what does a fucking bone doctor know about this?" Or if I said an ankle surgeon, she'd be like, "What the fuck do you know about?" And I just went, I'm a doctor, and I've spoken to lots of specialists about brain development, autism, and stuff like that. And I said, the food and the diet can influence it, and the screen time, and it can cause a lot of problems. And she said, okay, and just walked off. And before she used to say hello and smile at me. Now she does not. Like she does not.
And it's sad because you're doing it with a good intention, just to help.
Dude, I am. And sometimes it does work. Like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I was telling the mother of my daughter's friend, you know what? Yeah, she was very friendly with me, and it's one of my daughter's best friends. And we've been out for dinner and had play dates. So this isn't a stranger. I said, you know what? You might want to think carefully about getting your kid vaccinated, and just warning you. And she was like, "Are you a crazy anti-vaxxer?" I was like, I find that quite an insulting term. I'm just very skeptical of vaccines. I just feel like if you knew what was in them, if you knew how they don't work.
Ask your doctor, just say, hey, can I see what's in them? And then are you going to, guarantee that my kid's going to be okay after? Not going to happen.
Yeah. And I said, look, I've got a podcast and you can check it out and listen to it. She was like, oh, okay, all right, okay, wow. I didn't expect you to be an anti-vaxxer. And dude, bro, I swear to God, 6 months later, she came up to me and in very hushed tones, like we're in some weird, conspiracy. She goes, I checked out your podcast. It's fucking brilliant. I'm not having my kids vaccinated anymore.
Wow.
And I was quite taken back. I was like, wow. She was like, not happening. So sometimes it works. Sometimes
it does, bro. Yeah. I think it's always worth a try. You know what I mean? Like if you have a pure intention, then I feel like it's worth a try. Because if someone feels like they can help me, I'd rather them insult me or make me feel bad and tell me some real shit that might help me and me feel that sting in the moment, then them just be quiet because maybe it's something that could help my life, you know?
Yeah. Very quickly, I want to also remind you. I had a guest on who's a homeopath, and he does treatment for people who've been vaccine injured, and he needs to know exactly which vaccine was given, and based on those vaccines, he creates a formulation, a homeopathic formulation, and he swears by it that it does help a significant number of his clients. So that's just something else if you ever want to think about, or you want me to pass on their details. I mean, it doesn't cost very much. It's peanuts. Homeopathy is like nothing.
Yeah.
And I've been taking homeopathy for my disc prolapse in my neck. And you know what? I'm not saying it's 100% cure for everything, but the thing is, there's no side effects. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And it's cheap as chips. And it's just one thing you can try. Like there's so many different ways. You know, you can detox your child. You can do so many different saunas and sweat and exercise and osteopathy. Certain types of osteopathy can help. And
Yeah, we do
diet.
baths. We do the detox baths. We do all that. And then I even just recently, sorry to cut you off, I even recently was like, I'm giving her detox baths. But then I'm realizing that in just the water, there's so much shit, and our skin is our largest organ.
Yeah.
So we're absorbing so much through that. So I bought a shower head off of Amazon that it's pretty thick, but it supposedly takes out all the fluoride and all the shit. So now I fill up the bath with that, and then I'll do some baking soda, some Epsom salt, some magnesium flakes, and some sea salt.
Beautiful.
And then I'll put a touch of borax.
Amazing.
Have you ever heard of scalar therapy? Scalar.
Is that where they put this like device, like
it's the frequencies?
Yeah. I have, and I've heard someone swear by it.
Yeah,
I haven't looked into it much, but I think why not? Why not? We are frequency beings, so
we've been to 3. We went to 3 so far.
But I'm just a bit wary of some. Like for example, I had a potential guest that I've just cancelled. It was too much for me. They said, "Oh, if you speak into your phone and leave a voice note for me, my machine can analyze it, and based on your speech frequency, diagnose you of all your ailments, and I'll create a music sound that you can play, which will heal you." And I was like, "Yeah, that just sounds like a crock of shit."
Hey, never know, but yeah.
Dude, the problem is in the alternative sphere, there's also a bunch of quacks and
a lot of them, bro. A lot of them.
And dude, people who just want to profit from your fucking misery. Like,
well, a lot of these
people are desperate.
They're fear-based, and then like I see a lot of that online where they'll put all these things, and then they're just like, yeah, in 2 days my kid got cured, and if you don't give this to your kid, and it's like, what the fuck, you know?
Yes.
I mean, I tell, if people ask me, I'm like, this is what we've tried, and this is what we're doing, and this is what we're using. But it all comes down, in my opinion, to the stimulation and the diet, bro. And the therapies. And all the other stuff is extra. The detox, all that stuff is good. But some people are just like, it's just a lot of business going on out there, which is like, yeah, make your money, but don't do it at someone's kid's cost or like sell them a dream. You know, maybe it does work for some people, but it's just a lot of that going on, man.
If it's too good to be true, buddy, it's probably too good to be true.
A lot of times.
So, have you heard about telepathy tapes?
Heard about that on quite a few occasions.
Yeah, I just started listening to it, the 3rd episode. It's very interesting. They're saying that non-verbal kids can actually read minds. Have you ever thought about whether your daughter can read your mind?
I think she does sometimes.
You should ask her.
Yeah, I think she does sometimes. You know, what I do with my daughter a lot that I've noticed, I'm always thinking of what can I, because I have a couple of great psychologists. They've invented like some stuff for autism, like testing and autism in Mexico, and they've written a lot of books there. They're some of the greatest people to ever do autism in the world. They've, you know, they're professors and all that stuff and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, hey, man, all that stuff you're doing is crazy. We haven't thought about all that stuff. But I'm always thinking like, man, what can I do to stimulate her, to get, you know, and a lot of things I do to like communicate with her too is always take video of her at places. And then afterwards, I'm like, you remember this? Do you like this? Do you like this person? You know what I mean? Because it's scary, man. You just don't know when they can't speak.
Yes. Well, yeah. Try asking. Like, can she read? Can
No,
you?
no.
Right.
She can only like say, like water. Let's go. She's getting good at saying foods now. Like she likes to eat, so she says foods. Um, she can say people's names now. She's
That's
like
amazing.
adding words now. And every day, like before we go to sleep, now that she can count, I have her stand on her left foot and then count to 10 with her fingers, and then I have her stand on her right foot. So we're doing all kinds of stuff with her brain. And then I also I take her to horse therapy too, man. Horse therapy has been great because when you take them to horse therapy, it activates 9 parts of their brain, and there's just so much stimulation going on. I didn't know that. And there's just so much going on at that same instance that in the brain, it forces a kind of the imbalance to balance out a little, you know?
Oh, dude, beautiful. Oh, man, well done for you doing all of this. Seriously. I mean, if you could go back to your younger self, you know, before you had your child, your you know, at the time the mother was pregnant, you know, what would you tell your younger self about vaccines and stuff like that?
Don't do it. I mean, I mean, a lot of people have different arguments, and some people say, well, you know, polio and this and that. Hey, man, we all have our own way of seeing it. I personally, after what we've experienced and after talking to, like, it's not that it's just a couple people. It's been a lot of people I've spoken to, man, over these years. It's very, very common. Nurses, I have clients that are nurses. Just so many people, bro. Like, I just don't see. I feel like God gifted us with an immune system. And a lot of people say, well, if God wants, you know, this and that, well, I always tell people, well, you know, if you put in your part, then God will put in his part, you know? And if we take care of ourselves and, you know, things are supposed to go a certain way, they'll go a certain way. But a lot of people are just trusting in government, pharmaceuticals, and that's just not a path I'm on. You know?
Can we talk about tattoos?
And I've been to psychologists, bro, when I was younger, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you're depressed. You need these pills, or you need that." So I understand, and I thought, "Oh, this is gonna fix me," but I got to a point where I realized, "Oh, it's just on to me to fix what I got going on." You know?
Amazing.
Yeah. What do you got for tattoos?
Amazing. Yeah. So, dude, I've been on my own journey with tattoos. It's really funny. So I remember once I was operating on a young patient. They were only 16. And I was like, you know, just when I was getting ready to operate on them and their mum was with them, I was like, so what do you want to be when you grow up? And they're like, I'm going to be a tattoo artist. I was like, well, good for you. I was like, yeah, I follow all these tattoo artists around the world and I'm going to go and study with them and blah, blah. And I'm like, wow. And I looked over at the mum and I was like, wow, check it out. And then the mum goes, yeah, but they're not going to have any tattoos. And I looked over and I was like, tattoo artist without any tattoos. And
it does happen. It does happen.
Oh wow, okay. And this kid was like, yeah, I'm not gonna have any tattoos. I'm not gonna have any tattoos. I was like, oh, okay. Anyway, so I went and operated and you know, when the patient got wheeled out the operating theater, I'm writing the operation note. That's what happens. You have to write what you did and blah blah blah. And then the nurse in the recovery room came over to me and said, oh, the patient wants to see you. And I'm like, okay. All right, that's quick. Like normally, you know, it takes a while for them to come to. And so this nurse is there holding this patient's hand, and this young kid goes, dog, 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 and they're like half eyes open and like slurring a little bit like they're drunk. Dog, dog, dog. I was like, yeah, you know, I said to you and my mom, I'm not gonna get a tattoo. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get a tattoo. And I was like, okay, great. And they're like, I'm going to get a tattoo right down there. I was like, okay. That's enough information. Too much information. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
I'm going to whip it out and show you real quick where I'm getting it.
Oh, man. I'll never forget. That was hilarious. And then I had to go back and speak to the mom. And yeah, I didn't tell them about that conversation. I was like, best not. confidential.
better not to, for sure. Yeah.
But I mean, like, look, I've changed so much, dude. You know, like I grew up as a Muslim, not a Muslim now. But being a Muslim and being brought up quite religious, it was like, you know, tattoos are bad and blah, blah, blah. And I formed ideas in my head that, you know what, the skin is beautiful. I don't want to, you know, adulterate it with tattoos and inks. I've come a long way now, man. I'm like, dude, who would have thought that I would be taking certain, you know, plant medicines and going journeys? Like, I've come so far. I've left medicine, handed back my registration. You know, I've also changed my views on tattoos. You know, if people want tattoos, beautiful ones, great. And it's also, beauty is subjective. What's beautiful to someone is maybe not beautiful to someone else. It's about what that person wants and what makes that person happy. Good 100%. For them. So that's where I'm talking about my own personal journey, where I think about tattoos. Now, would I have a tattoo? I think the problem that I have is every part of my body is covered in hair, but just like where would there be a clear patch? But can I ask you something? Like, if someone wants to get a tattoo, right? I think there's lots of things I would want to know. Like, and I'm just going to rattle off some things, and then if you can think about some of the answers, like,
of course,
how'd you go about finding a good tattooist? How do you start your journey? Like, how do you decide what tattoo to get? What would you recommend to people? And what's a safe way of getting a tattoo? And what are the complications that you need to look out for, and how can you avoid them? What are the pitfalls and mistakes that people make, and what would you recommend so that people don't make those mistakes? Because there must be some mistakes people make, and in hindsight they go, oh, shit, I should have done it differently. Like, you know, being the expert that you are and the years of experience, like, can you just give some wisdom and advice to people who are thinking about getting tattoos so they don't make those mistakes? But I guess some people still will, and there's a learning element to it. But
of course,
can you just share some thoughts on that?
You know, 10, 15 years ago, I've been doing it 18 years. And then for the past 6 years, I've also been doing a lot of coaching for people, helping them transform their lives. So I see things different. If I would have gave you an answer 10, 15 years ago, I would have said, you know, just find someone that does good quality and make sure they're clean, you know. But I've began to realize and see things a little different over the past few years. And I used to look at it like that, like, okay, I want to just give this person something nice and, you know, have them be happy. And then that's it. Now I see things different. In my eyes, there's so much more happening than just a transfer of a tattoo. It's an energy transfer that's happening. And in one way or another, that person's leaving some energy with me and me with them. And then what we create in that moment, that's going to be a piece of energy that they're going to take on their lives forever. So they're going to spend time with me. You know, they're going to spend time with me, and there's going to be a forever bond there for the rest of both of our lives, whether we like it or not. So first, obviously, you want someone to do good work. And if you want like a certain style of work, you want to make sure that they're good at doing that. But also, that's one of the reasons why, also like another reason why I like to just be myself when I make videos too. Like, I can do just a message, but I like to just be me because I want people to know, hey, this is the person I'm going to spend maybe the whole day with. And that's very important because we all have a limited amount of time alive and we're all on our way out to die. And, you know, you want to be conscious and careful. I at least do, of who I spend my time with. So first off, you want to make sure that it's a reputable person, that they're doing great work. And then you want to make sure that you, they have an energy or a vibe, you know, that matches yours as well with the work too. Because there's some people where I've heard a lot of stories where they'll go and get a tattoo done and it's just a very bad experience, bro. And then they'll look at that tattoo, even if it's a nice tattoo, and they just remember that shit because you remember how people make you feel. You know this. You remember that. And there's some people that get shit lasered off, nice work lasered off, just because they don't, that's like a fucking, you know, it's a bad memory. And it should never be like that. Or I have women, way too many women that say, man, my tattoo artist was, you know, being a pervert or this and that. And it's like, what the fuck is happening? You know, I was asked women, you know, especially when, hey, how was your experience? How'd you feel with me right there? You're comfortable? Yes, of course. Because I treat everybody the same. Hey, are you good? You know what I mean? It should be very professional, bro. Everybody is unique, but everybody should be, you know, treated with love and respect. So it's very important to me that there's a combination of many things, you know, and then when you speak to the person, like I have some people that, you know, they send me their ideas. The process usually is with me is that I say, okay, send me any ideas or references that you have to see what ideas you have in mind. And then also a picture of the placement area so we can make sure that it flows on your body well. Because a lot of people, if you just stick something on too, you know, it could look a little awkward. You want to go with the anatomy. You want to understand the anatomy of the body because you want the tattoo to complement the body and the body to complement the tattoo. And so it's not just about just sticking on, let's go. And so you have to have a lot of patience as well. Like I have people that they're like, well, you know, I changed my mind. I don't know if I want this design. Hey, man, be clear right now. Don't feel bad if you change your mind because I rather you tell me right now if you don't like something, you want to change anything, then you tell me after, oh shit, I wish I would have done this or I wish I would have done that because you're going to have that for a long time. So it's just all those factors, bro. And then like when I always educate my clients whenever they come, I show them, look, because they don't know. It's like if I go to get a surgery by you, people don't know what all the instruments should look like. They do not know, right? So I always say, okay, look, this is, and no, I trust you. Hey, I don't care. You need to look at this, and you shouldn't, you know, you should be careful who you trust with what's going in your body because this is serious. So I show them the needles should all be brand new. They should all be packaged. The expiration date, here it is. Everything should be disposable. Even my razors, I pull them out of, they're not like the ones you buy in a pack. They're all disposable and they each have their own little pack. And it's just I always put myself in the client's position. How would I want someone to do it with me? I would love for them to educate me because I always tell people, hey, well, they're like, well, I'm not going to get tattooed by anybody else. Yeah, but what if I die? Now you're going to know what. No, you're not. Now we're living in reality. Now I want you to know what to look for, or maybe you're going to be on a trip or something. I don't know. So it's very important that it's sterile, that everything is clean. Whenever, like, it drives me crazy when I see videos of tattoo artists, bro. Well, they'll have somebody on like a massage table or on the chair, and they're taking a video of the tattoo, and there's no plastic down, bro. It drives because it's dirty. It's very dirty. So when someone lays down, it should be brand new plastic, and then you should throw everything away. Everything should be brand new every single time when you tattoo somebody. So it's just make sure they're doing good artwork. Make sure, you know, it's a reputable person, that you match their, you know, their vibe or whatever. If that's some people don't worry about that, and that's okay too. You know, some people just want the artwork. That's fine too. I just see it a little different. And then also with me, bro, is since I started seeing it so different, like I have a lot of clients that their tattoos mean something. And to me, that's very important. I love when a tattoo has a meaning to somebody. Like a lot of people, they say, well, I'm not sure what to get. And I'm like, you know, make sure you think about it and don't just get some just to get some, you know, I mean, but you're never going to regret something that's you know, for your parents or for your kids, because that's your family, you know? And I have a lot of people that they get memorial tattoos or something special, something that means something. So for example, if somebody passes away and they want to get a tattoo with me and they want to get something in their memory, I like to get something ready for them and excuse me, and something nice. I design something for them in the person's memory. I put some candles. I'll do a little meditation with them. I'll do a prayer. I make a little ceremony because, you know, the person's spirit is probably there, you know, and I want it to be special for that person. And that was someone that was special for them in their life. And it was, you know, it's deeper than just the artwork. It's the whole experience. And so I do my best to make it as special as possible. And then we'll do it. And then they tell me about the people, man. And some of these people have lost their children. Oh, dude, every story you can imagine, I've heard it, pretty much every story. And sometimes I'll cry with my clients, bro. We laugh. it's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. And I'm at a point right now where I'm just very conscious, more conscious of what's happening, what's going on. And I always see like, wow, this only one fucking human has ever existed. There's never going to be someone like this again. Never has been. And out of millions of tattoo artists all over the world, I don't know how many there are right now, they chose me. So I'm going to do my best to make this the best experience possible, because it's very important, you know. And then, so it's just rare that people go anywhere else once they get tattooed by me. But I always tell people that are tattooing as well, I try to open their mind to that, bro. You know, if you care about your clients, if you really care about your clients, don't just act like you care about them. You really have to care about them, man. If you care about this person and you understand, oh shit, this person's trusting me, whether it's a man or woman, whatever, with their body, with something that's special for them, even if it doesn't have a meaning, it's special whether you like it or not, because it's something on their body. It's not a piece of art that they're buying and putting on their wall. It's something that they're going to take with them, and they're going to walk through everywhere they go in the world until they die with that on them. So it's very important. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes complete sense. The whole time I was thinking, if I ever get a tattoo, and never say never, bro, I'm coming to you.
I'd love that, man. I'd love that.
I'm being serious. Don't die anytime soon, yeah?
I'm trying not to.
I'm being serious. I just love listening to you there. And I'm sure my audience was too. And I think people can tell you're authentic and real. And in some respects, when these big tattoo jobs that you're doing, 6 hours, 8 hours, whatever, you're sitting there, they're on that couch. And, just like when you go to a barber, you open up and talk. I'm sure it's more therapy than anything. That person is telling you things that they haven't told their wife or husband or whatever, or anybody in their world. And you must have heard so many fucking incredible stories. And they can only do that if they trust you and if you have a listening ear. And, it's funny, the synchronicities. Honestly, I've never said this to my daughter except today. Remember I told you I went out to the market to get some focaccia?
Yeah.
There's a drive there, drive back. We parked the car. We had to walk. And on the walk back to the car, I was talking to her about university and this and that. And she was talking to me how she's only 9. I don't want to go to university. And I was like, great. I don't care about university. And I was saying to her, what will make you successful? People go to university and they're very intelligent and they get educated, but they come out brain dead. They come out indoctrinated and brainwashed. I said, if you want to be successful, success isn't a degree. Success comes from lots of things. And I said, one of the ways that you can be successful in life is think about how you make people feel.
Mm-hmm.
And did you not just say that today? Dude, that's the first time I've said that to her, ever. And it's just funny that today of all days, you just said the exact same. I said, what's important is how you make people feel. And then I threw in things like, be reliable, be honest, be authentic, be a good communicator. Don't lie to people. Tell people if you make a mistake, and you know what? Fine, deal with it and tackle it. And be organized, be creative, be passionate. And these are the things that will make you successful in life, not a fucking degree. Well, I didn't say the fucking word, but that's what I said to her.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I agree. It's about how you make people feel. And I bet the people that come to you feel special after they left because you made the whole experience beautiful for them.
Bro, so some of these people, many of these people, man, I'd say the vast majority, we just talk so long. We get into so many things. I hear some of their deepest secrets, et cetera, and I'm like, wow, you are a beautiful motherfucker, and we're talking about every shape, every form, every race, and that's one thing to me that's very important is no matter what race anybody is, I never look at them as their race or their job or any of that. This is a person, and I'm going to treat them as the man or woman that I see them as, and I see so many of these people, and I'm like, do you see what I like? I wish you could see what I see. So many of them don't. It costs, like you were saying earlier, they don't see how special, how beautiful they are. They've let their family's ideas or someone's critiques about them just beat them down, bro. So I have a lot of people that they either hit me up for coaching or they'll be my tattoo client and they're like, hey, dude, I want to do things different. Yeah, so I'll get them on a program with me and we'll get them going. And then they're like, dude, I'm thinking about things that for myself that I've never thought before. Because just opening their own mind to so many things. And I'm like, dude, yes, like you are fucking special, motherfucker. You know, like, God damn. Like it drives me crazy how many people don't see it. Or some of these people, they have music in them. They have poems in them.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And they're just like, well, you know, and I'm like, man, I don't know how much time with this person. I might not see him again. And let me see how I can hopefully leave this person a little bit better than when this person came here, hopefully with some energy, with some ideas, with some thoughts, with some prayers, something, because this person's going to hit the door and I don't know if I'm going to ever see him again. And wow, I want them to, I want to take advantage of this time. And it's not just the artwork. I want this artwork to be as great, as best as possible, but also I want this person to, you know, maybe transform their life in a way if it's meant for them to be, and if they're open to it, and if they can, and if they maybe don't see it, I can help them see it, you know?
Amen. You know, Jerry, there's I can't agree more. I love you so much. I wish I could come over and hug you right now.
Love you too, man.
And I mean that. You're just a beautiful soul. You know, there's certain things in life, like, you know, when you watch the sunset and it's just stunning, or when you read a beautiful book that you've just been gripped by, or you eat this incredible meal, or you go to a show and hear music that's just incredible and takes you to another place. You know, another thing that's really just magical and beautiful is having a wonderful, authentic conversation with another human being and sharing the deepest thoughts and feelings and seeing the true self, the true being. It's a gift. And I feel
100%.
blessed that I have so many of these conversations. And I think you have too. I think in many respects, you're like a healer. You heal people not just by the tattoo, but by spending time listening to them and talking to them. And it's a gift that we've been given, that we have this opportunity to speak to people and people open up to us. I don't know about you, but I find that people just open up to me. My daughter, again today, it's funny, I was in the queue to get the focaccia and this lady just suddenly said to me, "Where's that accent from?" And I was like, "I'm from Glasgow." "From Glasgow too." And I was like, "Oh." And then we just started talking, and they'd been to Australia and I'd been to Australia and blah, blah, blah. And they started talking about fasting, and my daughter's tugging like, "Let's go home now." And then as we're going home, she's like, "Why does everybody talk to you? Why do you know everybody?" And it's true. People just want to open up to me, and people just want to talk to me. And they don't know I do a podcast. They don't know who I am. And but there was something, they just wanted to talk to me. Like, you know, there are other people in the line. But
I think people can, at the end of the day, bro, I think a lot of times there's just so many distractions all around us, and we don't realize like our intuition, our gut, all that stuff. And at the end of the day, people can really just, whether they notice it or not, I think on an unconscious level, they could just see, oh, this is just a authentic human. This is just a cool human. And that makes people want to open up, you know?
Well, on this note, I'm going to take a moment to give a shout out to the 16 people that were on the retreat with me. You know, you said something, and it really made me think. You know, you were talking about how this exchange of energy between you and your client. And thanks for all the tips and advice, by the way. They're really good. I definitely feel like at our retreat, there was an exchange of energy. We created this energy, and I'm bonded with these people for the rest of my life. Diane, Michael, Fiona, Fran, Gabby, Heidi, James, Katie, Marianne, Natasha, Neil, Paddy, Paul, Poppy, Sandy, who has music inside her, and Steph. And who else has got music inside her? Natasha. Natasha's got music inside her. Yeah, I exchanged and made energy and magic with these people, and I'm bonded to them with life, and I'm sure you are with all your clients. Anyway, let's go back to one more thing about the tattoo thing. I'm so glad you talk about how it's a process, and it's not like you just want another customer on your chair and you just like bang out. Like, how do you make sure that people don't regret having a tattoo, or they regret picking a design? Like how would you tell someone to make sure that they know? Like, one of the things that I tell people is, for example, I used to tell people is like, if you're not 100% sure about whether to have the operation or not, if you're asking me a million questions, then you shouldn't have the operation. You should wait. But if the only question you've got is how soon can you operate on me, you know you're ready. Like,
For sure, yeah.
What's the process like? Is it very similar with the tattoo business? Like, how do you make sure someone doesn't get it and then a week later they're ringing you to say, I made a mistake?
Yeah. If I see people, which is rare, but if I see somebody that they just, I don't know if I want this or I want that, but I just want to get something, I just say, hey, maybe you should think about it for a while. I mean, it's going to be there for a long time. I like to make things easy and peaceful and fun for my clients. I don't, well, you just need to get something, If I don't see them, sure, it's rare that happens, but there's young kids, a lot of young kids that hit me up and, hey man, I want to get this tattoo on my face or my neck. And I said, what do you do for work? Nah, I don't work. Then why the fuck you getting your face tattooed? Like, ruin your fucking life. And so I talk a lot of people out of getting tattoos too, bro. Like if I feel like it's against something that I shouldn't do, you know what I mean? Because I have my morals as a man, as a person, and I have to be aligned with that every day. I have certain principles I live by, and there's a lot of kids, they want to get their hands. But then there's also young kids that are 20 something years old, and they have a whole business. They're an entrepreneur. And I'm like, I'm not going to ask you because you already have your life. You have your career. You have your thing. But you're sure though? Yeah. Okay. But a lot of kids that they come and they want to get stuff, I talk them out of it, bro. Or I'm like, honestly, I won't do it. I've had people offer me more money. I've had a lot of different situations, and if it doesn't align with what I'm doing, or if someone wants like some diabolical shit, and I know it's for like some diabolical shit, like if I know that's the situation, I won't do it,
Oh, man. What is a man if not for his integrity, his word, and his honor? Well done, you. Well done, you. And one last question about tattoos. I've read somewhere not so long ago about concerns about things like heavy metals and tattoos and mercury and arsenic and all that kind of stuff. Is there any kind of brand that you would recommend that people use and can avoid it? I mean, do you know much about this? Like, what's that all about?
I've been seeing videos going out about that. If like, there's this doctor that someone sent me this video, and he was saying that.
That's it, by the way, because I follow you, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why my feed is funny. I was on Instagram. I saw this weird fucking video, and I was like, "What the hell is this?"
Probably the same video.
I need to ask you about this when I see it. So yeah, tell me about it.
It's probably the same video. I saw that it said that if you have a tattoo, you're 21% more likely to get cancer. I believe that was the number.
Yeah, something like that.
And it was like, it wasn't a super controlled study. Nobody was reading, or they didn't take into consideration these people's lifestyles, who tattooed them, any of that stuff. So it was just some stupid numbers that were thrown out there. But there's definitely going to be shitty ink, like everything, like every business. So I only use vegan organic ink. So it doesn't have any heavy metals in it. It doesn't have any of that type of stuff. But there's a lot of people, they look for clicks, you know what I mean, on their thing. So they'll throw stupid shit like that out there. And then all these people, well, I'm glad I don't get a tattoo, which is like, it's cool if you do or don't. But it's good.
But it's good to know that there are vegan, organic, free, whatever, from all this crap. It's good that. So that's another thing that people should be making sure.
That's why you want to go to a reputable person. That's why you want to go to someone that, obviously has been doing it for a while, that knows what they're doing, that has good quality. But that's why I educate all my clients, you know what I mean? And that's why I get testimonies. I have thousands of testimonies for people that have been tattooing over 15, 18 years. Nobody's ever had any issues. But there's always going to be stuff like that. So you just want to be careful. But yeah, I just had a girl recently that I think she hates me now because she asked me for a price, and I told her a price, and she said, "Well, I know someone that does it cheaper." I said, "Okay, have a good day."
Yeah.
And then she messaged me about 2 weeks later with a picture, and it was like all infected. And she said, "What can I do?" And I said, "How the fuck would I know? I'm not a doctor, you know. Like, I didn't do that to you, you know." And well, you know,
Yeah.
and I can't recommend what to do in a situation like that. You know that I can't give those recommendations. And so I said, I don't know. You might want to go to a hospital or to a doctor, or you might not want to go to the person that did it because they might not be able to help you. But I made a video about it, and I said, look, guys, this is what happens when you don't investigate who's tattooing you, and you just want to get some shit done. You want to get some cheap shit done. Because a lot of times, just like everything in life, the real cheap stuff is not always the best. The cheap and the fast stuff is not always the best. And I've had all the time, at least a couple times a week, same exact thing. Well, oh, now I need you to fix it. Look what they did. So you just want to be careful. But like, I know people, bro, they're 80, 90 years old. They're tattooed, and they're healthier than some people that are 40, 50, 60 years old with no
100%.
tattoos. So those studies, it's just like not controlled studies where they're not really checking out every aspect of someone's life. But yeah, of course, there's always going to be good and bad shit out there. If you get some cheap Chinese shit, I'm sure it's got way more than heavy metals and mercury. You know, it's probably going to have some real bad shit in there. I don't know. But it's just like everything, bro.
100%. I always say to people, don't assume that the cheapest option is the best option. It's
Dude, I'm a big believer in that. And there's still times where I'm like, that's a little cheaper. And then I'm like, I fucking knew it. Every time.
Yeah. Right. Can I ask you something before we wrap up? Just one or two more things. Now, you started your podcast. How many have you done?
I've done, I believe, 11.
And you piece of shit, you didn't invite me first?
Dude, no, you're on next, dude. You're on next, dude. Take it easy.
So
I've done all of mine in person. I just did one thanks to you recommending Riverside, since you recommended the Riverside. And that's when I did my friend, Dr. Flynn, but I want to get you on next. Dude,
you should tell the audience how I gave you a tutorial on how to use Riverside.
Best tutorial I've ever had, man. I was like, damn, you should be charging for this, man. Yeah, no, but a friend of mine, Jess Berry, she's doing a retreat similar to what you guys did. She's doing it this weekend in Utah. And she invited me to go, so I'm going to go speak to a lot of these people because she does a very similar thing to what you're doing. She's had a lot of childhood trauma. That podcast is coming out this Sunday. You got pretty deep into her story. She would be great on your podcast too, man. Great person. You'd love her.
Hook me up. And it's funny. I was thinking one day when my retreats kick off, what I'd like to do is invite people like you over as well. And there's costs involved, but you know what? If you don't pay good money, you won't get good quality stuff, and, seeing you in the flesh would be amazing. Like my next retreat in June, I've got someone called Nikita Stark. He's an amazing person. He's been on my show twice talking about so much about this trauma and healing. And hopefully I'll get Meredith Miller for another one I'm doing in Morocco. So, if you want to go to Morocco, dude, let's do 2026. It's like, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So, let's go back to your podcast. How's it been? Like, are you having fun? And
I enjoy it. I'm interested in people, bro. I'm interested in people, and I'm interested in what does someone have in their mind or in their story that can help somebody else. Like that's really the main thing I'm always looking for. Like, what's up with this person? How did this come about? How did you come into this to be this person? How's the process been? And so I've done Paul Rodriguez. I don't know if you know who that is. He's like one of the most famous skateboarders in history. He's a good friend of mine. I've done Big Lux. He's built a bunch of brands like Vibes, the Rolling Papers. He's involved in cookies. He's do you remember the F that was like the famous Stars and Straps?
No.
That's like one of that was with Travis Barker, the drummer.
Yeah.
He built that brand for Travis Barker. He's a genius. Just all great people, man. All very, very cool people. A friend of mine, he was a chief of police.
What's your podcast called? I'm going to look it up. Is it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and everything?
No, I just have YouTube. I need to get the other stuff, dude.
Oh, man.
I know. I'm behind on the technology, man. I got to get better.
And what is it on YouTube?
It's just a Jerry Hammond unique.
Okay, listen. YouTube are a bunch of assholes, right? They censor, they deplatform. Like, you can't feed the beast. Like, definitely have your podcast like on lots of different platforms. Seriously, highly recommend it. And again,
well, I noticed that when I did that, sorry to cut you off, that doctor, he was talking about vaccines, and it's just, they're not like showing that to anybody.
Yeah, I had a podcast on homeopathy taken down. It's like, what? And some other random one that was just taken down. I was like, what the hell, man? I didn't even like do anything. I've got like 2 strikes now. And it's just like, it's just bullshit. So anyway, there's platforms that you can use like Castos and Podbean, and I use Spotify for creation, and it just sends it out. It sends it out to other platforms. Like, you know, it's just really super easy, dude.
What's the name of that?
So Spotify for creators.
Okay, Spotify.
And you can actually upload the video onto Spotify, and it will send an audio one to Apple Podcasts. But a lot of people listen on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So you'll get a much bigger market if you use those platforms.
Oh, I appreciate it, brother. Thank you.
Well, the thing is, look, I believe in win-win, right? I'm not like threatened by anybody. I believe that the more good people you surround yourself with and the more successful people that you're around, everybody is a winner. And the reality is, I want you to be successful. I want people to listen to your podcast. You know, I'd be very happy for people to do that.
I've had people that I know that they have pretty big podcasts. I'm like, oh, dude, I want to start a podcast. And they're like, eh. And I'm like, why would you not want to see me do good? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that always blows my mind. Like whenever somebody tells me
they're
I got
threatened.
this in mind, I'm like, dude, yes, let's figure out how to get this going. You know what I mean? Like, let's figure out how to get you, or maybe I could hook you up with, like I told you, man, you needed to Dr. Flynn. Like people don't realize, people have a scarcity mindset.
That's
Instead of having an abundance, like, dude, even it's with tattoo artists. They're like, dude, if someone's like, hey, I'm in this state, and people fly in all the time, or they fly me out, but or they just can't for some reason. I'm like, wait, let me see who I know the closest to you and recommend you somebody. Like, why the fuck wouldn't I?
Dude, this is why you're my brother. So as a surgeon, if I saw a patient that was a bit unsure and uncertain, I'd be like, look, just don't trust my word. Take my word for it. Go see this other surgeon. And here's a list of 5. It's not my mate. These aren't even my mates. I just respect them and think they're good guys. And you can pick randomly any of those 5. Go get a second opinion. Like, I don't want a second opinion. I want to see you. You're meant to be the best. I'm like, no. Listen, just go get a second opinion. Go check 100%. Them out. And if you like them, you can stay with them. And half the time, they'd be like, yeah, I saw them. And they said the same as you. I've come back to you. And half the time, they'd be like, yeah, you know, I said I wanted to come back to you, but I click with this person, so I'm going to stay with them. I'd be like, great.
That's great.
I want you to be happy. And I'm now comfortable in my own skin that I know not everyone's going to love me. It's okay. It's okay.
100%.
But you know what? Very quickly, sorry, Jerry. You know how many times in 25 years other surgeons would send patients to me? Like, I was throwing them out like sweets and candy. I was like, go see this, but go see. So like every week I was sending people, go get second opinions. Dude, no other surgeon would ever send me a patient. What I did get was like the patient that you saw. Oh, I went and saw this person. They fucked me up. I don't trust them. I want to see you now. Like, but no surgeon would ever say, hey, go see Hammond and see what he has to say and come back. It's that scarcity mindset. I'm not letting go of my patient. It's mine. It's all mine. And you're just like,
Dude, it's 100%. When I have a lot of people that I work with in the coaching business, the transformational business, and some of these people, they have like really bad childhood traumas where they were touched or something like that. And I've helped some of those people as well. But a lot of times when it's like a woman or something, I'm like, oh, let me send them to Jess, because that's what she does. And she could probably help them and she can understand them more. I'm not like, oh, let me just get this person's fucking money. It's like, no, how can we best help? Maybe I can't help this person. So I always ask people when they hit me up to get coaching with me, I say, okay, what have you tried? what are you going through? What are you struggling with? And let's figure out if I actually can help you. You have to help yourself, but let's figure it out. And maybe if I can't, then I'll know somebody, or, hey, I'm just going to say I can't, go to somebody else, but a lot of people don't. It just blows my mind.
It's like the plumber, and you mentioned there's something wrong with the electrics, and they go, I fix that too. And then you go, I need some joinery carpentry work. I can do that too. And you're like, really? And they're like,
that's
yeah. And
a big problem in Mexico.
Yeah, and then when something goes wrong, they go, I'm just a plumber. And you're like, what the fuck did you say you could do that for? Like, everybody wants to take on the work, and no one wants to share the love. And what I'm saying, dude, is I fucking hate that. And I want your podcast to be so fucking successful, because there are so many voices out there that I just think are so fake now. They're so controlled and fake and inauthentic. And what we need is genuine, good people like you out there, and people listening to your kind of stuff. Yeah,
well, a lot of people are doing a lot of clown stuff, bro. And it's like, how can I get the most amount of views? And it's like, that's cool, but I don't want to be like that. I just always have, okay, how can this bring more value? It's always just every day I wake up thinking, how can I bring value to other humans? Because I've been in a dark hole myself many a times in life. And I was, and there's always so many people going through that. It's like this person's story, maybe my idea is something, but how can we help other people? But yeah, man. So I've been invited on a couple podcasts too. And I see things and I'm like, I don't think so. You know what I mean? It's just not good. It's not a good fit, because you're just going to want to see what type of drama I have going on in my life. And that's not going to bring any value to anybody. It might bring a little bit of entertainment, but that's not what I'm about. That's not what I'm trying to do.
Oh, dude, listen, well, honestly, off air, anytime, if you want to pick my brains, anything from imaging, canvassing, editing, whatever, like uploading, let me know. I can help you, buddy. Seriously.
I appreciate it, man. I do.
I mean, and if there's any guests that I've ever had and you think, oh, that's interesting, just let me know. Shout out. Just, I'll hook you up.
We besides doing that, we should do like a collab sometime too, man.
Yeah, like what are you talking about? Tell me.
Like me and you interview somebody.
Ooh. Yeah.
Tag team on
them. Did never done that. I love it. Let's do it. Yeah.
Because I mean, imagine you're a curious person. I'm a curious person. We could come up with so many great questions if we call, someone that is with anybody, it could be great.
Let's do it. I swear to God, let's do it. I love it. I love it. All right. The final question of the day is, my friend, you're on your deathbed. Could be next week. God knows when it'll be. Hopefully, it's a long time from now. I don't know. I'm not scared of death anymore. I actually think this is a form of death. I think the real life is afterwards. I don't think this is everything and the end. I think, we're eternal beings. Like, this is just a sideshow in our existence. But anyway, you're on your deathbed. Before you meet your creator or the God consciousness or whatever else is waiting for us on the other side, what words of wisdom and advice would you give to your lovely daughter and other loved ones around you?
That's a good one. That's a good question.
That's why it's always my last question.
Yeah, that's a good one, man. I would tell her and tell other people, man, always look for the beauty in everything. And first within yourself, and just always be yourself, always live with pure intentions, and never be scared to just be you, to say what you feel, to laugh, to love. Don't let, like what my daughter does, don't let life stop wowing you, bro. In every single thing you do, find the life in everything. When you're driving, let the wind, feel the wind. Just enjoy every little thing in life, but never, ever, ever lose belief in yourself, man. A lot of times we lose the belief in ourselves. So just believe in yourself, spread love, protect your loved ones, be kind, be capable of being a monster to handle your shit and protect yourself, but always just, figure out how you can help others, love others, care for others, and never be scared to be yourself, man. Always just be your authentic you. It's the best thing you can do.
Bro, I fucking love you, brother. That's one of the best fucking answers I've had. I'm gonna play that back to my daughters and my son. It's a really great answer, and your daughter's blessed to have you as a dad. Seriously, thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
everyone listening, if you want to join the magic in the next retreat last weekend of June, you make sure you're a subscriber to my Substack. It'll be released this week. And, the last retreat was sold out in less than 24 hours. I can't guarantee places for everyone, I'm afraid. But if you want to make some magic and find your tribe and find beautiful souls and have this transformative experience, I got an email ping up while we were chatting, and I just want to check what it is. I think I know who it is. It's actually magical. And I'm going to read it out to you if you don't mind. Is it all right if I read it out, buddy?
Of course.
So this is from one of my guests that was on the retreat. I need to find the email. Hold on a sec. It's taking longer than I thought. Here we are. Here's my feedback. Attending the retreat was truly life-changing. It was a sacred and heartfelt experience, so thoughtfully planned, gently guided, and lovingly held by the most wise and dedicated team. I came unsure of what to expect, and I left with a heart full of love, gratitude, and a sense of magic. One of the most beautiful parts was the people I met. Each person brought something uniquely special, and there was such a profound sense of openness, kindness, and true connection. We laughed, cried, shared our stories, and supported each other in the most genuine way. The lessons I've learned and continue to learn, and the bonds I've formed will stay with me forever. Thank you, Doc, and the dream team of heroines and heroes for all your wisdom, care, and authenticity. I'd come back for more of this magic. Natasha. Isn't that beautiful?
Well, that's good. That's good, man.
Dude, that's what it's all about. And
Wow.
you're creating that magic too. I love you, brother.
Love
I can't
you too,
wait to
man.
come on your show. I can't wait for you to come back on my show. And I can't wait for the day when we actually meet. Please tell me
Looking
you're not
forward
like
to it.
6'5", because I'm only 5'7". I don't want to be hugging your belly button.
Bro, everybody that sees me, every single person, I just had some people recognize me at the airport the other day and at Walmart.
Yeah.
And they were like, I thought you were short. And I was like, why the fuck's that? Everybody always thinks I'm a short guy. I don't know.
No, I think you're
man.
a tall guy. I think you're a super fucking tall guy.
Everybody always thinks I'm short, but yeah, I'm 6'1".
There. I'll be hugging your belly button.
It's all good. I like little people, man.
It's the opposite. I thought you were tall. I knew you were tall. I knew you were tall. There you go. I'm always different. Do you know what it is? I think because you're so slim and fit and well proportioned, that's why maybe they think you're like not so tall. Like you're healthy,
Yeah, I try to be, man.
Oh, and that's another topic for another conversation. Listen, bro, I love you so much. I'm going to wrap up now, and God bless you, okay?
Love you too. God bless, my brother. I'll talk to you soon, man.
I, Ahmed Malik, am a private civilian protected by the Geneva Convention. My Substack, social media posts, and podcasts are my personal experiences, observations, and opinions. This information is for educational purposes only. Although I am a doctor, I am not your doctor, and I am not providing medical or legal advice to you or to the wider public. I am not licensed or registered with the GMC or any other licensing board. The responsibility for the interpretation, due diligence, and use of the information from my Substack and my podcast lies with you, the viewer and/or listener. Please do your research and use your discernment. It is not my intention to harass, intimidate, offend, defame, conspire, blackmail, coerce, or cause anxiety, alarm, or distress to any man or woman, and the information presented here is done so with peaceful and honourable intentions. Enjoy, folks.